Tyrone. Welcome to the program on tonight. Welcome to the conversation. It's going to be a lively one. It's been all over the news, all over social media, around the world. President Biden has pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. And that means that he cannot be charged for anything now or never. So I have information from two sources on this evening from CNN and from the Wall Street Journal. I have to correct that in my feed. All right, let's talk about CNN. The headline reads in CNN: Democrats left fuming over Biden's decision to pardon his son after he repeatedly said he wouldn't. All right, let's talk about this. President Joe Biden's decision to pardon his son has left some Democrats fuming over his choice to repeatedly and unequivocally claim that he would never take that step, even though a pardon long appeared possible to Hunter Biden's legal team. Multiple officials who recently worked for Joe Biden said they never believed the president or White House aides speaking on his behalf when they insisted in recent months that a pardon for Hunter Biden was off the table. Anyone who was even close to the top knew that he was probably going to do this. Why did he pretend otherwise? A former senior White House aide said. A different former senior White House official said they and others around them had felt certain the president would ultimately pardon his son, while ex-administration official put it this way: it was extremely painfully obvious that this was where things would end up. But even as some of Joe Biden's closest allies were bewildered by the president's 11th hour pardon, Hunter Biden and his lawyers long believed that one was possible. Multiple sources told CNN that comes despite the White House saying that a final decision on the pardon was reached only this weekend. The president's Sunday evening move to announce the pardon came after he spent time with his family, including Hunter in Nantucket, Massachusetts, over the Thanksgiving holiday, and has led lawmakers in Biden's own party to criticize him. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said as recently as November 7th that a pardon for Hunter Biden was not being considered. Joe Biden's decision to pardon his son presented a delicate balancing act for the president, who has long been fiercely loyal to his family, even when it comes at his own personal or political detriment. Hunter Biden was convicted by a jury in July of illegally buying and possessing a gun as a drug user after a gut-wrenching trial that delved into his drug abuse and family dysfunction. He then pleaded guilty in September to 9 tax offenses stemming from $1.4 million in taxes that he didn't pay while spending lavishly on escorts, strippers, cars, and drugs. Sources familiar with Hunter Biden's legal strategy said he would not have agreed to plead guilty in September to all 9 charges in the federal tax case, exposing himself to the possibility of 17 years in prison and more than $1 million in fines without the expectation of clemency. The legal pressure on Hunter Biden mounted as his sentencing dates in December neared. People close to the president's son said they didn't want him to have to undergo sentencing. In the days before the pardon was issued, Hunter Biden's attorneys circulated a 50-page document outlining the 6-year investigation of the president's son and blaming Donald Trump and Republican allies for being the driving force behind his legal problems. Though controversial, Joe Biden's move to pardon a close family member or associate is not unheard of. Presidents from both parties have wielded their pardon power in ways that have raised eyebrows, though perhaps none did so strongly, saying they would not as Biden did. Trump pardoned Charles Kushner, his daughter's father-in-law, on his last month in office. Bill Clinton pardoned his half-brother Roger, who had pleaded guilty to a drug charge on his last day in office. Biden's public reversal this weekend and the issuance of a sweeping full and unconditional pardon for his son has some Democrats wondering why he had maintained that he wouldn't take a course of action that had seemed simply inevitable to so many around the president. As a father, I get it, Representative Greg Landsman, an Ohio Democrat, said on X. But as someone who wants people to believe in public service again, it's a setback. Why? Why is it a setback? Let's examine this here, because I'm going to read the article from the Wall Street Journal as well. But let's examine this. Isn't it President Biden's presidential right to pardon his son if he chose to? Trump already said that on day one he is going to pardon all of the hundreds of people who were responsible for the riot, the insurrection riot that took place. He called them hostages being held against their will. He called them patriots. Trump pardoned over 200 plus people before he left office 8 years ago. Did you all really think that President Biden was going to allow his son to be unmercifully left at the hands of Trump and his administration? You didn't really believe that, did you? Did you really believe that he was going to allow his son to unmercifully be punished even further by the incoming president-elect? There's nothing wrong with President Biden issuing a pardon to his son. Gerald Ford was chosen to become president of the United States of America after Richard Milhouse Nixon destroyed the infrastructure of the nation in 1972. And he lied about it. And then they found all the tapes. Did you read the book by Bob Woodward entitled All the President's Men? How they lied, they cheated, they stole, they covered up, and they fabricated so much evidence after the infamous Watergate break-in? Did you forget about the Senate Judiciary trial that they had and impeached Nixon? Ford was made president for one reason and one reason only: to grant Nixon a full and unconditional pardon, which Ford did. So what is the big deal that Hunter Biden has been given a pardon? Didn't the Justice Department drop every charge against Trump? Every charge. That's why they kept delaying, because they knew that ultimately all these judges were going to step in line and toe the line, and they were going to drop all the charges against Trump, which they have. So if Trump can have all charges against him dismissed, and even he from the 34 felony conviction dismissed, all charges have been dismissed against him. I never heard one Democrat. This is why I call the Democrats spineless, pathetic, weak, and inept. Where the hell were y'all during the presidential campaign when Vice President Kamala Harris needed y'all to stand up and be Democrats? You abandoned her. You didn't give a damn. You turned your back on her. You all threw her into that abominable cesspool of the political abyss, expecting her in 100 days to turn around a faulty campaign that Biden had, and then you expected her to win the White House. Then when she didn't win, then you abandoned her, you insulted her, you did every damn thing you wanted to do. And you were a bunch of cowards then, and you're a bunch of cowards now. And every chance I get, I'm going to rail against the Democrats because you all are pathetic. You abandoned black people like the Emancipation Proclamation abandoned my ancestors. What good was the Emancipation Proclamation when you set them free and didn't give them a damn thing to start their lives over with? After being in servitude for hundreds of years. Butchered, raped, castrated. You all don't like this kind of talk, because you don't want to hear it. Because you want to pretend like slavery didn't happen here in America. Just like the Holocaust happened, slavery happened. That's our Holocaust. Don't play with me. I am not a child. You can tell me all you want in the comment section. I don't give a damn. But don't play with me. You can talk about my hair. You can talk my skin. You can talk about my shirt, my tie. I don't care. But the one thing you're not going to do is try to insult my intelligence. Democrats, you need to get your pathetic selves together. No wonder you lost the White House. Because when Trump takes office in January, he's not going to be playing with y'all. Y'all playing with him, but he ain't going to play with y'all. Project 2025 is going to be numero uno. Excuse me. Day one. All the cronies that he said he never knew, all of them are in his administration right now. They're coming in with a sweeping agenda. So President Biden had a right to pardon his son. There shouldn't even be any opposition against it. None. That's a presidential privilege. If they choose to pardon people, they can pardon people. I wish to God somebody give me a pardon for all the injustice I had to serve for 10 years in prison. But I'm not white enough and I'm not wealthy enough to get one. But I ain't never going to confess the crimes. I'll never confess the crimes that I committed. Now I've got to find my feed back here. Get this article back up. All right, here it is. Now, another Democrat, Colorado Senator Michael Bennet, said Biden's decision placed personal interest ahead of duty and further erodes Americans' faith that the justice system is fair and equal for all. Man, shut the hell up. Where was your punk behind during the presidential campaign? Democratic Representative Greg Stanton of Arizona said that while he respects the president, I think he's got this one wrong. This wasn't a politically motivated prosecution, Stanton said on X. Yes, it was. They came after Hunter Biden because they couldn't come after Joe Biden. That's why they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And don't you people out there in the comment section dare sit back and pretend like these Republicans are angels. They're liars, thieves, hoodlums, bookies. They're everything antithetically wrong with America. I don't have any respect for them either. One former administration official suggested the blowback Monday would have been less intense had Biden not been adamant for months that he wasn't seeking a pardon for his son. He probably wasn't in the beginning. Heck, if I was the president, I would have pardoned my son as soon as they convicted him. I wouldn't have even taken as long. I would have pardoned. He got convicted that day, he would have been pardoned that day. I wouldn't have waited. I would have held a press conference and said, yes, I did it. So what? What are you going to do about it? I did it. I'm not going to allow my son to rot in prison for decades. Yes, I granted him a pardon. Just personally, I don't think that Trump should have gone through all the legal harassment that he went through. That's not how when he was the ex-president, that's not how you treat somebody. All the foolishness that they put that man through, it was ridiculous. That's why he won the election. Because people got tired of him being prosecuted and persecuted and hounded. I said at the beginning, it wasn't right and it wasn't fair, and I say now. All the stuff they put that man through as an ex-president of the United States of America, it was not right and it was not fair. All the trials and the charges and all the foolishness and taking the mugshot, it should have never happened. Never. Jean-Pierre, who on more than one occasion had told reporters that Biden would not pardon his son, admitted Monday that Trump's victory in last month's election had been a factor. It's a no. I can't answer that. It's a no, Jean-Pierre told reporters on Air Force One when asked whether Biden would have pardoned his son if Vice President Kamala Harris had won the election. Harris would have pardoned him. She then proceeded to insist she was not interested in discussing an event that did not happen. I can speak to where we are today, and so I can't speak to hypotheticals here. Where we are today, the president made his decision over the weekend. Now let's get to the article from the Wall Street Journal. Let's find out what they have to say about this issue. The headline reads, Biden pardon threatens his legacy and Democrats fight against Trump. Biden's legacy is not threatened because he pardoned his son. Biden is 82 years old. Do you think that he wants to spend his waning years worrying, deteriorating, knowing that his son's somewhere languishing in prison when he had the authority and the power to pardon him? What would you do if it was your child? Tell me. Get in the comment section. Y'all got a lot to say. What would you do if that was your child and you had the power and the authority to pardon him before January? So according to the Wall Street Journal, Joe Biden made the central purpose of his presidency clear in his inauguration day address. We have learned again that democracy is precious. Democracy is fragile. He said at the U.S. Capitol, where a violent mob had tried that month to overturn his 2020 election victory. Biden's aim would be to unify the nation and shore up its democratic institutions. This is one reason why the president's pardon of his son Hunter Biden on Sunday may further damage his already tarnished legacy. And I hate the Wall Street Journal. You can tell it's Republican controlled, or conservative, or MAGA, whatever the hell y'all want to call yourselves. You can tell. Everything is always slanted. The reprieve he ordered threatens to undercut one of the main propositions he offered for his election. And the January 6th insurrection, would y'all think that was a party? People got killed that day. People lost their lives. People went to prison. People were tried. Biden's political brand as a presidential candidate, his value proposition as a leader, was largely a promise to restore democratic norms and to fight the cynicism that helped Donald Trump build his MAGA movement on claims that self-dealing leaders had corrupted the government. Biden had repeatedly promised to respect the independence of the justice system and avoid interfering with the prosecution of his son, including by issuing a pardon. His reversal is not fully consonant with what he ran on, said Jim Kessler, Executive Vice President for Policy at Third Ward, a centrist Democratic group, while Kessler said he empathized with Biden's impulses to protect his son. The pardon comes as Trump will soon retake office on promises to overhaul a criminal justice system that he says unfairly targeted him and his followers. To lead the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Trump has nominated Kash Patel, a loyalist who has said he would fire his senior leaders and prosecute agents he thinks abuse their authority. Trump has pledged to pardon people convicted in the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol and seek retribution against his political opponents, which Democrats say threatens the independent disposition of justice. The Hunter Biden pardon clouds the message that Democrats will employ to protest those moves, Kessler says. Protest what? Democrats, you all don't have a voice. You are inept. You're pathetic. The man said he's going to pardon the January 6th insurrectionists, and that's what he's going to do. There's nothing you can do about it. He said he's going to do it, and he's going to do it. And you're going to have to respect that presidential privilege that he has, whether you like it or not. Once he becomes president officially at 12 noon on January 20th, he said day one. He said there are two things he says is going to happen on day one. A mass deportation effort, day one, Well, black Haitians, black migrants down in Springfield, Ohio, have already left by the hundreds and by the thousands, causing an economic collapse to occur down in Springfield, Ohio. They said they're not going to sit by and wait to be deported. They left on their own terms, and many more thousands of them are prepared to leave before January 20th. Others said the pardon will make it hard for Democrats to criticize Trump for pardons he issued to allies and family relatives during his first term, or about his use of the justice system when he returns to office, including the future use of pardons. The man pardoned his family. Trump pardoned his family members when he was president. If you didn't say anything then, you can't say anything now. That was his right back then to do so. He had every right to issue presidential pardons. It makes the position that we hold more difficult to defend when Democrats of any kind, but certainly the president, behave in ways that are similar to Donald Trump. Sarah Longwell, an anti-Trump Republican and political strategist, said on a podcast hosted by the opinion website The Bulwark, where she is the publisher, Trump in his first term pardoned a range of allies and at least one family relation. You know what they're pissed about? Let me tell you what they're pissed about. They're pissed because President Biden made a decision as a president. That's what they're upset about. They're upset because he didn't sit back and take this stuff lying down. The White House on Monday said that Biden has faith in the judicial system, but also believes his son was prosecuted only because of his connection to the president. Like I said in the other article, two things could be true. The president does not believe in the justice system and the Department of Justice, and he also believes the son was singled out politically. Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters other presidents have pardoned family members, among them Bill Clinton, Abraham Lincoln, and Trump, who in his first term pardoned his daughter's father-in-law, Charles Kushner. Last week, Trump said he intended to nominate Kushner as ambassador to France. While Biden's pardon of his son, like the pardons issued by his predecessors, may not be remembered as a defining feature of his presidency, it adds to the bitter feeling that many Democrats have about his last 2 years in office, which tarnished other aspects of the president's public image. Well, you all were pathetic for letting it go this far. If you all didn't want Biden to be your presidential candidate, then you should have done something about it the 4 years that you knew he was going to run again. What are you crying about now? One seen as a politician with the common touch, his nickname of Scranton Joe, spoke to his blue-collar background. Biden leaves office amid the continued exodus of working-class voters from the Democratic coalition, including many Latino and black voters who have supported the party in prior elections. No, black people got tired of being taken for granted by the Democrats. That's why millions of black people voted for Trump instead of voting for Harris. Because they get nothing for their vote. Every other ethnic group got a whole bunch of stuff from the Biden administration, and black people got nothing. That's why black folk did not come out and vote again for the Democrats. And I got news for y'all. We're not going to come out en masse anymore. If you all are not offering something substantive to black people, we're not going to vote. That's just the bottom line. Vote for what? Why? You got too many token black politicians up there now who don't fight for us. They toe the line. They vote with the Republicans on every issue. Every now and then they get stirred up and have voices of opposition. And then they go right back down into their safe, cushy jobs and they continue to vote with the Republicans. So if you don't respect us and we don't have any leverage, this new generation of black people, we're not doing like our predecessors and our ancestors have. We just not going to vote for y'all. We're not doing it. That's the bottom line. Biden cast himself as a global statesman, an image built in part on his long Senate career, which included a stint as chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Well, y'all don't even respect Joe Biden for having been a senator for over 40 plus years. You don't even give him credit when he was in his heyday, full of vigor and strength. Cognitive. Y'all don't even give him credit for all the stuff that he did. And now that he's an old man with dementia, and he's weak and fragile, even the opposition from his own party comes out against him. What punks. He also played a role in major foreign policy decisions as vice president of former President Barack Obama. While Biden as president rallied allies to support Ukraine in its defense against Russia, he has struggled in efforts to persuade Israel to curtail civilian wartime deaths in Gaza. Despite that country's heavy reliance on U.S. military assistance, he is likely to leave office without the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas militants that he has pursued for months. Well, that is not true. Just recently, y'all forgot about the deal that was brokered? That's why I stop and pause and I have to comment on different things. But now, let me close out by saying this. Republicans were quick to argue that the pardon shows that Democrats preside over a two-tiered criminal justice system, which Trump has claimed unfairly targeted him for prosecutions and so merits an overhaul in the investigation of his perceived enemies in the second term. Trump faced federal charges. All right, that's moot at this point. I'm not going to rehash what Trump faced. The Republicans did every damnable thing they could when Barack Obama was the president to try to get him hemmed up in mess, to try to have him locked up, to try to make him fail, but it backfired. Then y'all sold the big lie during the campaign season that Obamacare and that the Affordable Health Care Act, the ACT, are two different things. And that's a lie. It's one and the same. It's one and the same. The Affordable Health Care Act and Obamacare are the same exact thing. There's no differentiation between the two. We don't want Obamacare. We want the Affordable Health Care Act. It's the same thing, stupid. It's okay for Carlson Tucker and Sean Hannity and those racist bigots over at the Racism Bigot Network. They can say whatever they want to say. But if a black man dares just voice his opinion about different things, then y'all have a problem with it. What do you think, we're not intelligent? That we can't reason? That we can't read, write, dissect, analyze, commentate? I'm breaking stuff down on my channel for my black audience. This is who I'm talking to tonight. The bottom line is, Biden had every right to son. Just like Trump will come into office and he will pardon all those people that got locked up. He's got that right, whether people agree or disagree. He has the right for the next 4 years to make any decisions that he wants. He has the right to have people be loyal to him. He has the right to have whatever type of cabinet that he wants. That's his prerogative. And the Democrats have the right to protest in opposition against any of it or all of it. That's their right as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here for tonight. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to Tyrone Bowman Live, and I'll see you in the next video. Never surrender, never quit.